Hey y'all, how I'm doing? I'm back with another video. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm rushing through this because I'm gonna kinda, but that's only because I really have homework that I'm really supposed to be doing right now. Like I'm 3 months away from getting my MBA, and I've been like lacking like this whole quarantine just because I've been so lazy. But anyway, let's get to it. So I am here to review The Last Dance. Okay, I think it's like a 10 or it's a long documentary. It's like 10 parts to this thing, which is wonderful because that means that if it's spread out over like 5 weeks, cool. But anyway, it's about pretty much Michael Jordan and the Bulls from 97 to 98. That's what it's more so focusing on, that little run, even though they did like five before that. Now, whew, coming here saying, if you guys don't know, I love I love basketball. Football, no. Hockey, no. I don't know anything about football. Like I said before, I only know the basics about football, and that's because of the fact that I live in Pittsburgh. And if you live in Pittsburgh, this is Steelers Nation, and you can't live in the city and not know anything about football. But basketball, that's what I go up for. So yeah, so throughout this documentary, well, throughout my review, I am not gonna be sitting up here and doing a whole, oh, LeBron this and LeBron that. There are a lot of parallels though that I see between Michael Jordan and the things that he went through versus LeBron and some of the stuff that he's been going through like the past couple of years, like throughout his career period. Um Kobe Bean Bryant is literally like my fave because that's literally like that was the Michael Jordan of my era. Like when I was growing up, that's who everybody wanted to be. Okay, I felt like this is how I always looked at it. I'm 25, right? So to me, Michael Jordan is my daddies and them. That's him because my parents had me young, so they was born in the 70s. So Michael Jordan is their like guy, right? Kobe is our guy, my generation's guy, and then LeBron is this next generation's guy. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out to Kobe Bean Bryant. Anyway, so let's get to it. Let's get to it. Oh, before I get to it, also I want to say I don't have like a vast history of Michael Jordan. I know, about him winning, about the six rings. I know he's never, lost, going to the finals, which is the main thing that people hold over his head, saying why he's better than LeBron because he's went to the finals and never lost. Um, so yeah, I know the basics, but this is good. This is good drama right here. So throughout this documentary so far, we did part one and part two. There was a lot of the thing is there's a lot of bouncing back and forth as far as like timelines and stuff, but it still all kind of makes sense. So I just want you guys to kind of like stick with me while I'm rolling through this. All right. So we got part one. Okay. So we pretty much start off with them talking about how they drafted, Michael Jordan in 1984. Okay, so they start showing us, pretty much a lot of the main people that's gonna be in it. So of course we got Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr. Let's stop on Steve Kerr for a second. I fucking iconic. How dare you have the nerve to not only be on an iconic team that was a fucking dynasty, but then coach another dynasty? Get Steve Kerr the fuck iconic, okay? And then we got Phil Jackson, all of this other stuff. I'm gonna do a whole 13 series part on why is it that Phil Jackson cannot get the Knicks the fuck together. That's what we should be doing something on, okay? But that's another conversation for another day. But I'm gonna say this: when this first started, all it made me think is, I miss basketball, y'all. Y'all know, y'all don't understand. Like these last 2 years, I have been so heavy into basketball. I'm I was so into, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. Like, I was really into it. Like, these last, like I said, I've always watched basketball, always been on it. But these last 2 seasons, I swear I have not missed a damn game of just about anybody, even if I didn't see the game, because I went and I got the whole NBA package. I literally have the whole NBA package. I have the whole fucking thing. My dude don't like sports, I do. But the fact that basketball is not on is driving me the fuck insane. It's thoroughly. The Nets was on a fucking run. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, so we start off pretty much kind of talking about Jerry Krause. Now, Jerry Krause is going to end up being a Carole Baskin of this whole situation, all right? So, pretty much when we're coming into this season of the 97-98 season, we're dealing with the fact that we have kind of an aging team. Everybody pretty much except Jordan for the most part, they're pretty much up there already. So, Scotty's up there, Dennis is up there. Everybody's pretty much up there. Everybody's pretty much on their last legs as far as, this team is concerned. And it also kind of, I'm drawing parallels, and I'm only doing that because of my age, and so I have to connect what I know. So this kind of sort of reminds me of like towards the tail end of the big three, like the Celtics era. So Kevin and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. It kind of reminds me of that because remember they was smoking and they was on fire, but at the same time everybody was kind of getting up there. So that's what it kind of put me in the mind frame of. Anyway, so but Michael was just kind of like, when he heard about, the fact that they kind of wanted to restructure the team or whatever, they wanted to kind of get rid of some people, bring some new people in, he wasn't with it because he's like, my guy, listen here. I can understand if we just lost or if we only won one, but we just won five. And so you're telling me now that you want to change all of this up? Why? Just because you think that people are getting older? No, like let's keep the formula the same. He wasn't with it, and of course, this is something that everybody, if you know anything about basketball, you've always known this. That Michael Jordan famously said that if Phil Jackson does not, he will never, um, you know, play for another coach other than Phil Jackson. He made that shit clear a long time ago. So, we got Jerry Krause pretty much coming in, okay? Jerry Krause, if any of y'all watch 90 Day Fiance, he is Ed from 90 Day Fiance. That's who he reminds me of. But anyway, he pretty much comes in, GM. Now, before he was actually hired by the owner said that it was told to him by many people to not hire him because he's not like a people's person. And they also said that he had like a short fat kid syndrome. So he's a really small, tiny guy, and he's pretty fat. And what somebody said that stood out to me is that he's the type of person who he always wants the credit, which we'll get there to a second. Um, so but regardless, the owner didn't listen because he said, I'm not, here for him to be a personality contest. He's here to run a team. So he hires him on. One of the very, very, very first problems that they run into is he says to a reporter that organizations win titles, not players. That off top nope, it didn't put nobody liked it ever since then. Michael wasn't feeling it. Wasn't nobody feeling what he said. He ended up trying to come back later, and it shows him of an interview trying to clean it up, saying alone, alone, alone. I'm not saying that they don't have any help. No, he meant that shit. He meant that shit. And the thing about it is that, like Michael Jordan said, the people in the front office are absolutely wonderful, and yes, there are certain people that as an organization they do keep it running, but the heart and the center are the players. That's a whole fact, period. So they show pretty much how Michael Jordan and Scotty, they didn't like him, so it shows them picking on him here and there. Was it mean sometimes? Yes, but for the most part it was funny because he's annoying as hell. All right. um Then we have the dissension that pretty much went on between Jerry and Phil. Phil pretty much felt like he wasn't getting the money that he deserved, and Jerry pretty much, not Jerry, sorry. Yeah, Jerry pretty much like refused to give it to him. He pretty much refused to give it to him. He wasn't trying to give him no money at all, which is just mind blowing to me. Like, we're talking about Phil Jackson. We're going into the 97-98 season, and you don't want to pay him what the fuck it is that he wants. You should pay him whatever it is that he wants. I guarantee you, right now, if Steve Kerr walks into the Golden State Warriors and asks for a certain amount, I guarantee you he's gonna get it. And even if he don't get it, oh, trust me, they're gonna work. Even if they don't have it, they're gonna figure out a way. They're gonna give it to him. They're gonna give it to him. Period. What the fuck? What was he doing? I just kept asking myself this whole documentary. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. So then during all of this, the shady part about Jerry is Jerry this whole time is sitting here and he's grooming other coaches. He's going here, he's going there. I think he had like a wedding or something like that and invited the whole team and this guy that he pretty much was grooming to be a coach and purposefully didn't invite Phil. Now as Phil, I wouldn't give a fuck either. But at the same time, I see what you're doing. And this shows a lot of the backhanded and the politics for real that goes on in sports. What there should be a show about, y'all be free to take my idea, but there should be a show based on the inner workings of the back dealings of what goes on in the basketball world. The closest thing we got to that is Hit the Floor. And I know y'all say Hit the Floor, but I'm serious. Hit the Floor got some stuff, and to be telling, watch Hit the Floor, watch like the first couple seasons. Anyway, so pretty much throughout this whole dissension, Phil and him pretty much not getting along. Phil said the only conversation that him and Jerry had is, Jerry pretty much, he came into Jerry's office and Jerry pretty much told him, look, this is your last year, period. I don't care if you won 82 games, you're not going to be working here no more. This is your last game. This is going to be your last year. Okay, cool. So they went ahead. He sat down with the owner. The owner signed off, gave him his money. I think it was like $6 million for like the final year or whatever. And he said, cool. That's not how you do a relationship, period. And you don't disrespect somebody like that. Like that's the theme throughout these first two parts is the fact that people do not value loyalty. And it's really sad because the two most loyal people that y'all had on this team, y'all treated like shit. And it's disgusting to me. How dare you? That's Phil fucking Jackson. How dare you disrespect him like that? But Phil said, you know what? It's cool. Honestly, I think that Jerry, it wasn't even a maybe. Jerry was definitely jealous of Phil because they brought it up that if it wasn't for Jerry, Phil wouldn't even been, the coach, because Jerry brought Phil in to Chicago as an assistant coach. But as time going on, Michael Jordan alone, that's a hell of a light to be underneath. Hell of a light to be underneath. You know what I'm saying? So you got Michael Jordan, then you got Scottie Pippen, and then you got Dennis, who's always jumping off the roof and doing something crazy, and then you got Phil. So yes, you fall in the background somehow, and he's one of those people, like they said, he wanted his credit so damn badly. And it's just like, my guy, no, everybody doesn't get that. There aren't a lot of NBA GMs that are known. There's not that many. There's a few, not a lot for real. So it's just like, you needed to calm down. Okay? So then we jump real fast. We jump to October of 97, and the Bulls are in Paris or whatever. Basketball is pretty much pandemonium. This is pretty much showing the expansion of the NBA, and that's one of the things that Michael Jordan and David Stern are pretty much really accredited with, is like the expansion of the NBA and pretty much making it like a worldwide type of brand. So that was pretty cool to see all of the footage over there. So then we kind of go back. So we go back to 1982 when Michael Jordan went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Shout out to Chapel Hill, because that's where I'm trying to apply to go to school. So shout out to y'all, okay? And pretty much how he, in 1982, how he won the NCAA for his school, and I think he was a rookie during that time. The way that they won is they pretty much didn't even know that Jordan was gonna come out of nowhere. They pretty much moved the whole defense, shifted it to this side. Michael was open on that side, swing him the ball out on the outside, number buckets, and they won. Period. Okay, so then after that, maybe like a year or two now, what is crazy is that they said that in between his freshman year and his sophomore year that he got ridiculously good. And I don't know if the footage, if this is how the actual footage was, or if that's what they were showing, but looking at him from his rookie year and then when they cut to his fucking sophomore year, my God, this man, his hops was crazy. The man jumped so damn high to make a block that he hit the back of his damn cranium on the top of the damn basketball hoop. Like, what the hell was this man doing? He had like lifts or some shit in his shoes. He could fly. He really could fly. I'm serious, okay? So, so then, they pretty much talk about him and how, he pretty much goes pro. So we get into that. So we pretty much go into like the first year or so of him being on the Bulls, and how the interviewer pretty much says, like, did you know that, like, the Bulls, pretty much something like about how the Bulls was like pretty much, the bus was like kind of like a party bus, like a lot of cocaine and stuff like that. Mind you, I like how they threw in I'm gonna say this. Let me take a pause for the cause. I like how they threw in a lot of like pop references during the time, to kind of make it all make sense. And they talked about how, of course, during the 80s, it was the drug epidemic, crack cocaine is hitting all crazy. And so when Michael Jordan hears that, he starts laughing, and he's like, "Listen," like, he laughed to me like, "You have no idea how true that was." So the interview's like, "So, did you know anything?" He's like, "Look," he's like this, "I ain't saying no names, I ain't saying nothing. All I'm gonna say is that I went into a room one time, I come in there, some people doing lines, some people smoking weed. There's the women over there. I'm just like, oh no, this ain't for me." And he said, "I walked out and I just left." Also, pause for the cause. I need the soundtrack for this series. Y'all soundtrack is on point so far. Are you see? Whoever did the soundtrack and is doing the musical composition in this thing, y'all deserve something, an Emmy, because it's all on point. The music is hitting and it's all time relevant. I'm here for it, regardless. So I guess ever since then, that just pretty much made him the type of person to always stay to himself. So, he just kind of lived, regular normal life. He liked to play cards, but he didn't kind of like to be like all in a club and doing a whole lot of that. He's like real reserved and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, he was the number 3 pick. So as a rookie, I'm sorry, like I said, it's a lot of time jumps here. So as a rookie, he gained, respect in the NBA, like I said, within like his first 2 years. He was really known for like his footwork and, like I said, the heights, the height, as far as him jumping and stuff like that. This wasn't on the documentary, but I seen somebody put on Twitter, the fact that Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson was kind of running the 80s and kind of the 90s at the same time, which I find another parallel I find weird is the parallel between them two and then LeBron and Drake. LeBron and Drake both kind of started like around the same time. Like Drake kind of popped off around the same time that LeBron was kind of like entering in the NBA. So like their dichotomy with one another is always been interesting to me, and I just kind of found that the same thing to be interesting with Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson. How I wouldn't say, of course, Michael Jackson has been Michael Jackson his whole damn life, but I'm just saying, just the dichotomy between the two, I find that real interesting. Anyway, whoever was doing the captions also for these people. So my Uncle Barry Barack came on the screen. Why did it say former Chicago resident? And why when Bill Clinton came on, it said former resident of Arkansas? Whoever did the captions, you need an award, because that took me clean the fuck out, okay? So yeah. So we jump pretty much to 97. Wait, what did we jump to? 90. We jumped to 98, so we're in Paris. So now we're in Paris, pretty much the Bulls in Paris, but we have no Scotty and we have no Dennis Rodman. Regardless, he went through, and Michael Jordan, he went through and he whooped their ass by 26 points. The funniest part to that is, number one, the team that lost, there was a guy who walked by and asked if he could have his armband. He was glad to get his ass whooped by Michael Jordan that day. He was so thankful. He just wanted his armband, and he gave it to him. And another second funny part is, he sat next to the guy, one of his teammates, and the guy, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I finally won a championship." And he hugs the guy next to him, and he turns to Michael. He's like, "Can I get a hug too?" That, as soon as he made that face, I said, "Oh, that's a meme. That's a whole gift/meme in itself." And guess what? 2 seconds later, it was a gift to me. He said, "That don't count." Like, what the fuck is y'all doing? It kind of reminded the same thing that they said of the story. They said, Shaq said, well, I forgot what they won, but before they had won, I don't know, I think Kobe had gave up like some shoes or something like that to like the team, and then they had like lost the game, and when he came back, he took back all his shoes. They're not here for it. They don't care. They're not here for it. But anyway, so then, we get to like the little last point, and Phil Jackson says every year he has a theme, and so his theme for this one was Last Dance. That's the name of this. Ooh, y'all, what time is it? Ooh, 19 minutes. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna try to speed through this next part because I don't want to be here too long. We're dealing with Scotty. So pretty much this whole next episode pretty much dealt with Scottie Pippen, which I'm so happy that they did. And the next episode is going to be Dennis Rodman. I'm very happy that they took the time to pretty much dedicate an episode to him, because I feel like he doesn't get the just due. I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel like that. But, we got Scotty. Scotty pretty much was, the number two. They pretty much start off with telling us some bullshit, which is that Scotty was the sixth. Like, he made, like, out of everybody's salary wise, he was number six on the fucking Bulls. On the fucking Bulls, he was number six as far as getting paid, and he was 122nd overall in the NBA. Bruh, that completely pissed me the fuck off. How are you first 122 overall, but how the fuck are you number six on payroll when you're the number two guy on that fucking roster? It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But anyway, so we start off about, about his home life. He seen his daddy have a stroke that kind of fucked with him. Michael Jordan came out, and pretty much said, I don't, when people, without, put it like this, don't say my name without saying Scotty's, because if it was not for Scotty, I would not have this. Every championship I have with Scotty. So pretty much put some respect on my nigga's name. That's pretty much what he said. Scotty went to the University of Central Arkansas. He started off as an equipment manager, and he was only 6'1" at the time, which 6'1" as a basketball player, that's not tall, like, at all. It's not tall. But when people started like falling off the team and stuff, he was working hard, and eventually they gave him a scholarship, which that shows. Just be consistent, young people. Be consistent. You're gonna get there. Eventually, he was doing really, really good. Get to the draft, the Sonics had picked him first as a first round, in the first round for the fifth pick. But Jerry Krause was able to, trade it out and get Scotty in. That's the thing. They did say throughout the documentary that Jerry, although he was a little brass and an asshole, that he really did do his job well. He did. He just was an asshole about how he was doing certain things. So, so he was traded to the Bulls. This is 87. So, in 1991, this is where Scotty fucked up. But I can't get mad. In 1991, Scotty signed an $18 million deal over the span of 7 years, which it's it's so frustrating to think about. Like, every time I think about like these artists and players and stuff, people who did contracts like back in the day, even now in your splits, is just, that's terrible. $18 million, that is literally, what's 7 times 2? 7 times 2 is 14. That's a little bit over $2 million a year. That's it. Which to a lot of people, that's not a lot of money. Not for no Scottie Pippen. That's not a lot of money. And I just seen it because they showed on ESPN like right after it went off. At the time, Jordan is making like $33 million at the time, and you're only making $2 million pretty much a year. That's fucking insane. But at the same time, I get it, because Scotty said, look, I did not want to take the risk, of me potentially hurting myself, and then I don't have anything at all. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call when you have nothing. That's why people do stuff like that, because when you come from absolutely nothing, okay, it's the same reason why people take plea deals. That's kind of what it reminded me of. It's the same reason why people take plea deals, because you would rather take what it is that they're giving you than to hold out. That's just really a lot of times how it is. In our reality, he should have waited. He should have held out, because his value was much bigger than that. But he wasn't thinking on a mind frame. He's thinking of, I got a daddy that's in a wheelchair. I got another sibling or somebody else in my family that's in a wheelchair. I have people to take care of, and I can't even be mad at him for about that. I can't be mad at him. So Jerry, the owner, pretty much is saying, I didn't think that he should have did it, but at the same time, I tell my people, once you sign this contract, don't come back. There's no renegotiating. So he was the type, once you sign this is it. I'm not doing that. In 2020, there's no way in hell. All people do is renegotiate deals and trade and pull out. And right now, that's a lot of the big problems, is people feel like, that's why people don't like, damn it, what's LeBron James' best friend, aka the guy that does the agency? They hate him because of the way that he's able to help players like finagle in and out their contracts. That's why people hate him for real like that. If this was 2020, that would never happen. What? He would have got the fuck out of that contract. He would have got out of that. But anyway, so we get back, to I think present day, which is like 97, 98, and at this point there's no Scotty. because at this point I think Scotty had messed up. I think Scotty had messed, like, he had like injured himself, right? But at the same time, he could have went ahead and like got the surgery, but to spite management, he didn't. And Phil said he wasn't even mad about it. So it is what it is. 1985. We go back to 1985. We're talking about Michael Jordan, and he broke his left foot. Because he broke his left foot, he ended up missing 64 games. And when I seen that, I said, oh my gosh, y'all are just giving the LeBron Avengers something to point out, because Skip loves to bring up how, when the groin injury happened with LeBron, how he missed all of these games and how Michael had pushed through regardless. Gosh, Shannon and the LeBron Avengers are going to use this. But whatever, but the Bulls end up letting him go back in. Oh, the Bulls let him go back to college because he wasn't really doing anything but sitting to the side. So he went back to college, kind of played a little bit. They was pissed about him playing, but he came back. When he came back, he was on time restriction, kind of like how they did LeBron when he came back. Came back, was on time restriction. Now, Jerry Krause told Stan, who was the coach at the time, that if he let Michael Jordan any time past, I think, like a minute and 14 seconds, that he was going to get fired. So I think I forgot who they were playing, but it pretty much was like the clinch to playoffs. And, I think they're down by maybe like 2 points, got like 30 seconds left. And Michael's telling Stan, like, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. He's like, bro, if I do, I'm gonna lose my job. He's like, let me in. He ended up letting him in the game, but Paxson ended up hitting the shot. Man, they go to the back, close the door. Man, what is it? Stan locked that damn door, and Jerry was banging on that shit like, let me in, let me in. He was pissed. I know he was in them stands pissed when he seen Paxson hit that shot, because he was like, because his whole thing was pretty much this was the whole thing. It was politics at the end of the day. He wanted them to lose so that he could have a reason to pretty much trade everybody. That's pretty much what it was. He was trying to force niggas' hands, and nobody was here for that. I see it. I watch House of Cards. I watch Scandal. I see what you're doing, okay? And Michael Jordan said ever since that, like, that's what really solidified the fact that he's done, because his whole thing is, fuck the business. He's really like a true, like, down to the core basketball person, but this is about winning. Fuck everything else. Fuck your politics. Fuck what you're trying to do. This is about winning, and you're literally willing to throw everything away just for this bullshit. This ain't Remember the Titans. You ain't cool. You ain't the backup people, and I'm not coach. Boom. Okay. So how about that? Anyway. So then we get to 97. At this point, Krause pretty much has made it clear as day he must have get rid of Scottie Pippen. And Scotty at that point said that he get all his fucks went out the window. He didn't care because, Jerry's out here making public statements about it. And so it got a little rough. He started cursing him the hell out every time he seen him. He was disrespecting him. And even like Phil and all of the teammates was like, bro, he was getting for real. Like, he was going in on him, cursing him out in front of people. And I guess Scotty got it to the point where he said, I want out. I want out. I'm tired. I want to go. And Michael Jordan ended up, saying, like, in the interview, that he kind of thought that it was selfish on Scotty's part, because he felt like, oh, you should have just kind of took it for the team. I get that. But at the same time, like Scotty kept saying at the end, I had to do what was best for me. And I think that out of everybody, Scotty was one of the least he was unselfish to me throughout the whole thing, because he did have to play number 2 to you, Michael. And for him to do that for so long and play that calm, collected role and not jump out and pretty much be that person to play his part, he's pretty much a Klay Thompson. Even though Klay Thompson, once Kevin Durant got knocked back to number 3, he's a Klay Thompson. He played his position the way that he was supposed to. So I think to call him selfish, I think that I get it, but I think that that's a stretch to call him selfish, because all he was doing this whole time was not being selfish. So that a lot of times that's how it works. You can do everything for everybody, but the one time you decide to do something for yourself is the issue. That's why, shout out to the Clark sisters, that's why Twinkie went and got that Lincoln, because she was doing for everybody else, and then she tried to do for herself, and y'all had an issue with it. Even though it was disrupting everybody else. So what? I've been playing my part this whole time to keep everything else running, because clearly, as we seen, once Scotty left, they started having problems left and right. And at that point, Scotty knew his worth. He was like, man, fuck out of here. I know my worth. You're not so you're not gonna pay me what it is that I want, and you're gonna keep going around talking about how you're gonna trade me. Get me the fuck out of here. And granted, Lonzo is no Scottie Pippen, but I can understand his mindset to the degree of, like, I don't want to say Lonzo, but like a lot of the people on the Lakers at the time, when no shade, LeBron in them was trying to trade a lot of them out. Not trying to say it was right or wrong, but I'm saying I could understand a lot of those young niggas' perspective, which is, man, I'm ready to get the fuck out of here anyway because I'm already underneath this man's shadow. Then on top of that, y'all trying to get rid of me. So just get rid of me. Just let me go. Let me get the fuck out of here. So yeah, that's where we are so far, y'all. Y'all tell me, get in the comments, tell me what y'all think. I'm out, bro.